Family is a common theme in indie games. In Ori and the Will of the Wisps, we embark on a quest to save a loved one, while What Remains of Edith Finch teaches us how a family curse leads to their haunting demise. Both games are as beautiful as they are harrowing, and Röki, a point-and-click adventure game set against the backdrop of Scandinavian folklore, is no different. In short, Röki is visually and narratively breathtaking. It presents us with an immersive world full of fantastical creatures, tons of tiny details, and a realistic family who all share a painful past. Over the course of its roughly 10-hour playtime, Röki's narrative left me stunned. If, like me, you're a fan of narrative-driven indie games that teach us about love, loss, and ultimately what it means to be human, then let me explain why Röki may be for you. In Röki, you play as Tuve, a young girl whose brother has been taken to another realm, a realm twinned with our own and full of Scandinavian fairy tale creatures, most of which eat children by the way, trolls, weird crow people, and the Yule cat, who sneaks into your house and literally devours your offspring. Yep, it's safe to say Röki is pretty dark. But Röki isn't necessarily about these creatures. It's about Tuve, her family, and how they come to terms with the loss of their mother. It's already a heavy subject matter, but as Tuve is a child, it resonated with me that little bit more. And unfortunately, to come to terms with her past, Tuve must confront painful memories from the time of her mother's death. Most times, these are presented through interactive flashback sequences, which I thought was a genius decision. Not only does it feel like Tuve is facing them, but it feels like you are too. Many other games use this method, but it's still a really clever way of telling a story. Because Tuve is a child, she often misremembers key events from her past. This made every flashback sequence genuinely heartbreaking when the truth was revealed. I was stunned to silence and I immediately empathised with her, her family, and everything they'd been through. It's really powerful stuff. One reason I felt like this was because it was effortless to connect with Tuve, as she feels like a real person. As Tuve feels like a realistic character, it also keeps the story grounded in reality, even in its most fantastical moments. This was most apparent when starting Röki for the first time, as the developers Polygon Treehouse show us a regular day in Tuve's life. You play in the snow, cook the family dinner, and even read your younger brother Lars a bedtime story. It pulls you into Röki's world and instantly immerses you in the narrative. As weird as it sounds, for a story containing mythical creatures, everything is completely believable. Other techniques are used to immerse you too. I personally love the passive world building which is gradually dished out as the game progresses, like in the introduction when you inspect a car and Tuve says, "He hasn't driven it after that night." Or when you follow the path of a lost expedition crew and learn their story is scarily similar to your own. These moments always provided more information about the world, but best of all, the questions they ask are always answered. I find it really frustrating when games ask questions and have no intention of providing answers. It reminds me of the outstanding passive world building in Fallout 4, The Last of Us, or even smaller titles like Deliver Us the Moon. As you feel immersed in the world, and more details are gradually given out, you want to push onwards, explore further, and learn more about this universe. And thankfully, if you do, you're rewarded with some insanely beautiful landscapes. Polygon Treehouse also do an outstanding job of framing their environments in the best possible way, like when you head towards this church and the camera pans up, or another time when Tuve is shown as a tiny speck in the distance. When returning to a space multiple times, this sense of awe does wear off, but I appreciated how Polygon Treehouse added tiny details to keep things interesting. I was pleasantly surprised when specks of snow were glistening in the sunlight, or how forest creatures flew away as I passed by. But my favourite detail of all was when I stumbled across this tiny creature hanging out its tiny washing to dry. Discovering these details was some of the most fun I had with Röki, and it highlights a team of developers who were passionate about the game they were making. A lot of care and attention has been applied in Röki, and it's all the better for it. In all puzzle games, it's a difficult balancing act between creating puzzles that are satisfying to solve, and creating those that aren't too illogical. Well, in Röki the balance is almost perfect. There's a great mix of easier sections, and I'm not ashamed to admit this, a handful of occasions where I was stuck for at least 30 minutes. It starts off simple, like opening a fridge, picking up some food and cooking it in a pan. But as the game progresses, the difficulty ramps up to points that are genuinely mind-bending. My proudest moment was using the date on someone's tombstone to place blocks in the correct numerical order. There were no hints, none of this was ever explained, but it was incredibly satisfying when I finally cracked it. There's also a large amount of variety to keep things fresh. Most puzzles involve using items and objects, but there are a couple of riddles, a few involving statues, and even asymmetrical puzzles, similar to Luigi's Mansion 3. When solving every single puzzle, I always had that eureka moment, which is a sign of a great puzzle game. It's hard to describe just how much joy finding a key item gave me, and Polygon Treehouse makes sure this feeling never escapes you. But unfortunately there were times I was frustrated, simply due to the item-based nature of the puzzles. As most require specific items to solve, if you don't have the item, you can't progress in the game. It was really annoying as some items were either hiding out of sight or small in size. A couple of times, I'd overlooked one of the smaller items and was stuck. This meant retracing my steps and walking around the same environments over and over again. There was a button which highlights objects in your area, but even using that I missed them. I often found myself wandering around spamming this button in the hope I'd missed an item. It was not fun in the slightest. But my worst moment in Röki was during the final chapter due to this very issue. I knew that I needed to dig under a gate, but none of the items in my inventory could do it. After another 30 minutes, I eventually found the shovel I needed. It was such a shame as the game should have been crescendoing here, but instead I was aimlessly roaming around getting more and more frustrated. I know this issue comes with all puzzle games, but I would have appreciated a few more hints to help me out. Something as simple as my character saying he saw a shovel back there would really have helped. Other moments are frustrating too, as unnecessary barriers to progression are created. I noticed this when spending around 2 hours gathering the ingredients to craft a mask, only to be told I have to craft another one straight afterwards. This happens a lot during Röki, and I can't help but feel a couple of hours could have been cut from the game. Although I enjoyed most puzzles, during these moments it felt like I was being asked to jump through hoops. Before I round off this review and get to the point where I recommend Röki, which I do by the way, I just wanted to say why you might not enjoy this game. For one, it is incredibly slow paced, and due to the nature of puzzle games, there will be times when you feel completely lost and frustrated. This happened to me a handful of times, which I know could have been easily avoided. But if you are aware of this going in, and you enjoy narrative driven indie games, then yes, buy this game, you will love it. I know that exploring its beautiful world with tiny details scattered everywhere was so much fun, and I connected with the characters on a level which is rare in gaming. Once I finished the game, and the credits started to roll, I didn't want to say goodbye to Tuve and her family. I felt part of them and I understood everything they'd been through. I immediately pressed continue and replayed the final section for one last time. Afterwards, as I shut down the game and started writing this review, the family was finally at peace. And if I had to be frustrated at 1 or 2 puzzles to experience it over again, I'd sign up in a heartbeat. Thanks for watching my review of Röki, and see you on the next one.